arts education. This is the last of two parts for arts. For the second grading, we are still on East Asian arts. Again, for East Asian arts, we will be focusing on three countries, namely China, Japan, and Korea. Today, our discussion will be on East Asian crafts and paper sculpture. Can you imagine the world without paper? Where will all our books be printed? Your modules, the newspapers and magazines, the ones you write on, your iPad or your intermediate pad papers, the ones we use to draw on, and other stuffs we use for paper. This is how paper plays an important role in our lives. Look around you. Many things that you have around you is made of paper. The invention of paper paved the way to the development of all nations during their time. It was a big help and also a cost-efficient one, which held the history of the world. There are different histories which will tell us of where paper came from. It already existed in different forms long time ago, but it was Kai Lun of China who improved and standardized its use during the Han Dynasty, and it was valued as one of the greatest contributions of ancient China in the development of arts in East Asia and in the whole world. Now let's see what this paper were used for before and until now. Let us discuss on East Asian paper folding art. We already know that people from East Asia are nature-loving, as what they focus on as subjects for their paintings. It is also a form of inspiration for their value on simplicity, created ideologies on how they are emotionally and psychologically. The first documented paper folding art was of a small paper boat that was included in a French book, Tractatus de Sphera Mundi, from 1490 by Johannes de Sacro Bosco. This book is about astronomy, and in one of its pages, a picture of a small folded boat was found. They are not sure if the art of paper folding is already existing in the West or was brought to the West through the Silk routes during those times. Yunbao in Chinese or Sai Chi in Cantonese are the currency they use in ancient China. As part of their tradition, they use paper folded to shapes of Yunbao and Sai Chi, which the Chinese burn during their ceremonial practices in funerals and ghost festivals. As we can see in this picture, they burn this yunbao or sai chi in metal bowls, and even in their traditional ghost festivals, they use this for it symbolizes prosperity. As you've watched on period dramas, their money during those times are either flat, coin-like money or gold and silver boats. These currencies, including Sai Chi, was used in China until the 20th century. Sai Chi is a Cantonese word meaning fine silk. As we have discussed before, silk is one of the most expensive material during the ancient times. Up to this day, this symbol is seen as prosperity and is still used during the Chinese New Year. The Japanese traditional art of folding paper is called origami. Ori means folding and kami, paper. This started in the 7th century in Japan. Then it was internationally popularized in the mid 1900s, and today it evolved into a modern art form. The goal of origami is to transform a flat sheet of paper into a sculpture through folding and sculpting without cutting as much as possible. In Japanese Shinto weddings, these origamis are commonly used to represent the bride and groom. Knowing that Japanese loves nature, they imitate structures of butterflies, fish, birds, and the likes as models for their origami. The best known origami is the paper crane, and it is believed that when you make 1,000 origami cranes, your wish will be granted by a crane. They believe that cranes are mystical, holy creatures that is said to live for 1,000 years. Also, when you are gifted by 1,000 cranes, good luck is given to you, as well as good health. East Asian paper cutting art. Janshi is a decorative Chinese paper cutting art. If you fold paper symmetrically and create a pattern, once you open it, you will create a symmetrically designed and is mostly done with red paper. It was used as decorations for windows, doors, and walls, but Chinese Buddhists believe that hanging window flowers or this jiangxi will attract luck and drive evil spirits away. Jiangxi is the first type of paper cutting design since paper was invented in China. These are also called window flowers. East Asian kite making art. Kites are assembled from bamboo sticks and silk traditionally, but came the invention of paper, they then use paper in exchange of silk because it is lighter. But today, they can also be made from plastic and is flown recreationally. Chinese kites originated in Weifang, Shandong, China, which hosts the largest international kite festival on earth since 1984. According to Joseph Needham, one of the important contributions of Chinese in science and technology to Europe is the kite. Do you remember how electricity was discovered by Benjamin Franklin through his famous kite experiment during a thunderstorm? Chinese kites are differentiated into four major categories: the centipede, the hard-winged kite, the soft-winged kite, and the flat kites. East Asian knot tying art. Korean decorative knot work is called metop, also called dore or double connection knot. These are usually hanged as handicrafts or their clothes decoration. In China, their knot tying decorative handicraft is called zonggu, which began in the Tang and Song dynasty. While in Japan, their knot tying art is called hanamusubi and puts more emphasis on braids and individual knots. East Asian woodblock printing. Woodblock printing is the ancestor of photocopying machines we have today. They thought of this method to print texts, images, and patterns over and over again, like in newspapers and books. This was originally used in China for textile printing and then evolved to be used on paper. The art of woodblock printing was adapted in Japan during the Edo period in the 1600s and became one of their oldest and most highly developed visual arts. They wanted to produce copies of their artwork, hence, they thought about creating their artwork on wood, inking it with different colors, and stamping it on paper. Most of the common themes Japanese used are of everyday life. You will be doing two activities for this module. First is the paper origami, where you will create a crane, and the second one is Chinese janshi. Origami crane is a symbol of success and good fortune, and we would like you to know how to create such paper cranes. Maybe after this, you can make 1,000 paper cranes and make a wish to be granted by a crane. For the materials, you will be needing a colored paper, scissors, ruler, and a pencil. A step-by-step process will be given to you by your teacher in your FB group, so stay tuned. Your output will be graded according to this rubric. Next is the Chinese Jiangxi. You will be needing red paper, pencil, scissors, and ruler. Again, for the procedure, it will be posted in your FB groups. Your output will be graded according to this rubric. For assessment, kindly check your FB group for the link. This is the end of arts education for the second grading. Thank you, and I hope you've learned something from watching this video. Stay safe, everyone!